Thank you for downloading this Brum Radio podcast. For more podcasts, visit brumradio.com.
Hello and welcome to another very special episode of the Brum Picture Show, the film show brought to you by Birmingham-based community cinema collective Screen B14. My name's Paul Vernon, and my dear filmmaking co-presenter Nadine is off making another film. So once again, I'm crawling around the editing room floor, trying to find some unaired material to satiate your need for constant content. And satiated I hope you will be, especially if you're a Brum Picture Show completionist, because what I am about to present to you is the lost pilot episode. So this was something we recorded before we started the show properly, and this is particularly fascinating in that it's not presented by me, it's presented by Screen B14's Sam Parks, who unfortunately has not been in the show since, because after recording this episode, there was a bloody power struggle involving he and disgraced former presenter of the Brum Picture Show, Rory Rawson, for the coveted third chair in the studio, and the outcome of that was vile, frankly, but suffice it to say, Rory was victorious, and Sam is now living in exile on Bergman Island. And I think he's quite happy, to be fair. He loves all that art house stuff. So yes, this is very much a prototype Brum Picture Show. It doesn't follow the usual formula, and this recording sees us, or hears us, discussing our desert island films. How exciting is that? Just a quick disclaimer to any audiophiles out there, or indeed people with ears. We didn't really have a producer for this episode. No one was driving the desk. I don't think even anyone was wearing headphones. So the sound quality in parts of this isn't really the best. We didn't realise that Nadine wasn't really speaking into the mic for a lot of it. And there's a bit more banging at the desk and fumbling at the mics than would be considered professional, perhaps. But hey, it's raw. So come with me now on a journey through time and space to the Brum Radio Studios in October 2023, I think. Me, Nadine, and Sam Parks talking about our favourite films that we'd like to watch on a desert island, should that scenario arise. And now for your listening pleasure, for all you cinephiles and fanboys and fangirls, it's the Brum Picture Show, brought to you by Brum Radio.
Welcome to this, the Brum Picture Show. It's a perfect film. I completely disagree. The Brum Picture Show. I find it very entertaining. I mean, there's not a lot that happens, so the Brum Picture Show. Hello, and welcome to this, the pilot episode of the Brum Picture Show. I'm Sam Parks, and joining me today is Paul Vernon
and Nadine O'Mahony.
I think this is going to be quite an informal discussion. This isn't the sort of structure we'll follow throughout the show, but a nice way to break the ice really would be to talk about some of our favourite films, but with that classic twist of desert island films. Mm-hmm. So, Paul, I'm going to let you take the lead. We're going to have 3 films each, and we'll see where we go from there. So, Paul, go for it.
Hello. Well, 3 films each is an interesting development because I've been tearing my hair out trying to find 8. I was the one who suggested this idea, and I hate myself for it, to be quite honest with you, because it's just impossible, isn't it? And now you've put it down to 3. I hate myself even more, to be honest with you. So,
Well, maybe we should define what a desert island film is. Is this just your favourite films, or is there more to this? Is this, because when you think about it, all right, you are on a desert island. You are isolated from the rest of the human race. You haven't got a lot to do other than, play with your volleyball.
We've got Wilson, that's all right. He's our luxury item.
But apart from Wilson and your fishing net and whatever else, and your flint, you also happen to have a TV, I imagine, and a Blu-ray player that's working on some kind of hand-cranked electricity.
I assumed that we were watching these films like on a hand-cranked projector.
Okay, so this is important to establish.
It is,
before we jump into it.
Well, I thought about this a lot because, yes, the fact that you're on a desert island does change things significantly. It's not what you consider the best film or even your favorite. It's about whatever's going to cheer you up on a desert island on your own. So I was thinking, when I was trying to think of my sci-fi film, there were so many films where I was just like, okay, yeah, that's obviously one of the best sci-fis of all time. Like 2001, obviously amazing. I'm not really going to want to sit and watch 2001 on a desert island. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe even not Blade Runner. Would I be in the mood for that? But what I would be in the mood for on a desert island in a state of despair would be Luc Besson's The Fifth Element. Even though it is by no measure the best sci-fi film of all time, and it is in no way better than Blade Runner or 2001 or Alien or Dark Star. The Fifth Element, that's what I want. Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich running around in silly costumes and stuff blowing up.
Well, there's a lot of humanity in that film, isn't there? I mean, you've talked about Blade Runner and 2001. They're quite solitary films, single sort of character.
Yeah. I don't want to watch Solaris.
Which one?
I was about to say.
Neither of them. Maybe I would go Soderbergh over. I'm with Mark Kermode on that one. I'm sorry, but Tarkovsky's boring.
Wow. That's.
I don't know, man. I understand what you mean. I don't love it with all my heart, but I think Solaris is a meaty film and it's very beautiful and it's long as well, which I think is important.
But if you've got a hand crank projector, that's you. You're going to have to be cranking that for a long time.
That's true.
I fashioned some kind of automatic cranking device with a palm tree and a squirrel.
Squirrel. Enlist a crab or something to help you out.
Sorry. Yeah, so I've figured that out because I'm quite intelligent.
Well, who needs films when you got a monkey to keep you company?
Well,
so it's true.
That's it.
How long is the original Solaris? It's about 12 hours long, right? Feels
quite
like it.
long.
I mean, I can't believe we're about 5 minutes into our pilot show and we've had a take as outrageous as Tarkovsky's boring.
Hey, man, I'm just
167 minutes.
That's respectable, to be honest.
That's not too bad at all.
That's sub 3 hours. That's all right. But I am quite conscious that I've literally started this with The Fifth Element of all the things. Yeah. I don't know how that happened, really. Well, so that's one of my 3 now, is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes,
I said
sorry.
it now.
Take it to the desert island with you. Too late.
That's fine.
I'm going to be honest, I haven't spent hours contemplating this because I'm an instinctive person, and instinctively I went in a completely different direction and I'm thinking about rewatchability. I'm thinking
Clever.
I need a film that I can watch 100 times and not get sick of, and there's very few of those. And I would say Apocalypse Now would be my desert island film. And I know when you started saying about cheering you up, I was like, oh, have I got maybe 3 years on the desert island with nothing but Apocalypse Now to watch might have some
depends what you do of the
weird
films,
effects. It's beautiful. It's absolutely exquisitely beautifully shot. The cinematography is just gorgeous. I find it very hypnotic, actually. It's one of those films that has an almost dreamlike feel to it. I think the music, the visuals, it's kind of psychedelic and beautiful and strange. And then it's also just really weird and interesting. It's quite dark, obviously. It's actually, I find there's a lot of humour in it as well, though. But in a very absurd way. Like when Kilgore is talking about, any man who can fight like that can drink from my canteen, and then he sees a surfer and completely forgets all about it. And I've watched it quite a few times and I haven't got sick of it yet. And I think, if I'm going to be on a desert island, I need something I can watch again and again. And Apocalypse Now would be up there.
Which cut are you bringing?
I don't know if this is a controversial take, but I'm going to say original theatrical.
Oh. I've never seen the original theatrical cut.
What?
I know, I've only seen Redux and the final cut or whatever they call it.
Oh my God. All right. That's something that needs to be
rectified.
Thank you. That was the word I was reaching for.
All right, I'll do that.
No, I think it makes a big difference. It was interesting for me to watch the Redux. I think I watched it once. I didn't care to watch it again. And same with the final cut. But actually, what it does, and interesting enough, I was watching Ridley Scott give an interview, and he said the exact same thing today. The pace, it throws the pace off to me. There's something about this man on a mission going down this river to get to his goal, and it's just this kind of relentless myopic pursuit that I think is kind of the backbone of that film. And once you start, going off with Playboy bunnies and going off to see French people in mansions.
Yeah, the plantation is like one of the big additions, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah.
There's no plantation in the original, or not as much?
No, not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
And I just think it really bogs it down a bit. And also it brings shades to Willard's character that I think actually make him less interesting in a way. Or, I think there's something for that thing of he's this almost like a robot, or like this kind of, just this obsession. And if you start flirting with women and eating dinner and this and that, all right, they have a bit of a sing-song around the campfire or whatever. But, too many of those kind of asides detracts from that for me. And I think it has to have that obsessive quality. This is a man who wants a mission and they gave him one. So that's my desert island pick.
That's an interesting pick. I think that's a really interesting pick. I was going to go with Punch Drunk Love to begin with, but this talk of this myopic descent into the jungle sort of thing reminded me of Aguirre, The Wrath of God, the Werner Herzog film, which is a similar story of one man trying to make it to, what was that place in the Amazon that they believed was El Dorado. El Dorado. And I don't know, I think on the desert island I'd be going pretty cranky on my own. And so why not go cranky with Klaus Kinski
and you really want that though?
And fully send it all the way, because you may as well end up on a raft with monkeys. I was hoping I'd come up with something more creative, and I was going to talk about Punch Drunk Love so you could be reminded of all the lovely soft, sweet things in life, and and have, I was trying to get an Adam Sandler film in, and I didn't want to go with anything too Adam Sandler-y, so but I think it was Nadine's mention of this myopic descent into madness, and I thought, you know what, I fancy a bit of that. I fancy a bit of that, because
regular Tuesday night, don't mind. Myopic descent into madness.
Is it controversial to say that I don't think Werner Herzog's fiction films are that great?
Wow.
I like how you preface everything you say with,
is this controversial? No, that's possibly too strongly put, but I much prefer his document. Like, I much prefer, what's the documentary about Fitzgeraldo called? Burdens of Dreams, The Burdens of Dreams or something? But yeah, I think the making of Fitzgeraldo is far more interesting to watch than the actual film itself. Like, because I think there's something about Werner, it's just all about him just saying all these mad things that he's, I think it's in that documentary that he's talking about the jungle. People think it's a romanticized thing, but actually it is based on the birds here. They don't sing here, they scream in pain. It's just all these like wonderfully nihilistic things he comes out with. I find Werner Herzog way more entertaining in like like a documentarian form than his fictional narrative stuff.
Again,
I'm sorry.
we're only 10 minutes in, and we've had Tarkovsky and Herzog thrown under the bus.
No. I love Herzog.
Yeah.
I'm just saying his
Herzog's
documentaries are better than his narrative
Well,
fiction.
I'm going to be really controversial now and say that I prefer his work in The Mandalorian as an actor.
I prefer it in Jack Reacher. It is Jack Reacher, isn't it?
I'm gonna
Or is it Jack Ryan? No.
Yeah,
one of
I
the
think-
two.
Yeah.
Does it make a difference? That's there's my controversy.
Wow, we've all done one there.
Sorry to all the Jack Reacher / Jack Ryan fans.
I haven't actually seen any of his films or documentaries, which is not to say that I don't want to. I just haven't.
None of them.
I've seen clips.
Whoa.
So I appreciate what you say about the voiceovers because they are hilarious.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like he's a character. Like I think he's a parody of himself.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's not because I dislike. I don't want to watch them. I just haven't had the chance. I just haven't had the opportunity.
not even Grizzly Man.
I've not watched
I
Christian.
heard
Ah,
about, my
that was my
sister
introduction.
told me about it.
Yeah.
I was quite young. I think it was on Channel 4. It must have been like the premiere or something. I don't know, maybe it just made me feel really sad or something. I don't know.
It is quite sad.
And I love bears.
Yeah, well.
I can see myself being the grizzly man.
Yeah,
like, they're lovely. Just give them
Timothy
a hug.
Treadwell loved them too. Look what that got him.
Exactly.
But-
Yes, I don't know, man.
No, that was my introduction to Herzog, I think.
We like more of this.
I was like, yes. More misery. No, it's a very good film. I highly recommend it. But yeah, it is bleak and tragic, as you'd
Wow.
expect. Because, he thought the bears were his friends, but they were not his friends.
Gosh.
So you're taking Aguirre instead of Punch Drunk Love?
Yeah.
Well, you got 3.
We've got three
yeah.
of them, so by the time it comes back round to me, I'm going to have come up with 2 others.
Yeah.
Because I've not thought this through whatsoever.
Back to Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Paul?
is. All right. Okay.
He's going by genre.
Oh wait. Well, okay. Well, this.
You've ranked them all as well.
Well, I've tried to.
Oh,
I've tried.
gosh.
Well, this was like my original 8. So what I did, when I thought it was going to be 8, I was like, "This is insane." Why?
I think we should let you do all 8 because
Well, why don't you pick your top 3, but then give us the kind of
Yeah.
runners up?
I'll still go one at a time. Then maybe I'll just rattle through my kind of long list.
a long
Towards-
list.
yes.
Oh my word,
Yeah.
that is a long list.
Well, yeah. See, what I was trying to do at first was actually try and make an actual Desert Island films, which I thought would be 8 films because that's how many films Desert Island Discs is. How many discs Desert Island Discs
yes.
is. But I set a kind of self-imposed rule just to kind of try and cheat and make it easier. In that I then said it had to be things that I own on physical media.
I like
Because
this.
that if there actually was kind of a scenario, it's like, Paul, you've got to go and be on a desert island right now. Go to your DVD shelf, grab 8 DVDs now, and it's just kind of what I'd go for. However, that's also really difficult in itself, and obviously that does limit in the sense that most of my DVDs were bought in the noughties, maybe some in the early teens. So yeah, it is a very limited list in that it just mainly reflects the tastes of teenage Paul. And
Well, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
there's very
okay with
little
that.
highbrow art house in here.
Oh, you don't have to be.
Oh well.
We need to all bring different things to the table,
Well,
Paul, and
exactly.
you're bringing your teenage side.
Exactly. Having said that, well, first of all, we need to have a debate, which I know the answer to because I know deep down in myself what the answer is. But what is a film?
Oh my gosh. Whoa. Really? Feature film. It's got to be feature length.
Well, exactly. The reason I ask is recently, Sight and Sound, in their top 250 films of whatever, decided that Twin Peaks: The Return was a film. Sam is instantly shaking his head.
No.
And it's not a film. I do agree.
I think it's a brilliant choice.
Yeah.
Absolute brilliant choice because it's a fantastic season of television and it's quite lengthy as well. And I think you've got a little bit of everything that you need in there.
Yeah. That's the thing. I personally think The Return is the greatest thing ever made by anyone. And I think that's an objective fact, right? Which
So do you want? I haven't seen it, so I can't
You
agree
what?
or disagree.
I've not seen The
Sorry, I
Return.
haven't seen every bit of media yet.
But
I'm only 37.
but this is Twin Peaks: The Return.
Okay,
No, that's
this
fine.
is not intentional. I haven't seen all of Twin Peaks, the original, but that's only because I was watching it on TV and like Channel 5 or something when I was a teenage Nadine, or teen Nadine, if you will. And I just, you know what it was like having to watch something every week, and life gets in the way, or schedulers change things around, and you don't. So I really wanted to get to the end of it. Channel 5. So, well, I don't want to disparage them, but I just couldn't keep up with their scheduling back in the old. This was in the old days, children, when we had to watch things live as they were beamed out, and not stream them from an endless bucket of media. So yeah, I've never completed it, but I did try. I made the attempt. It's on the list.
That's fine. So many things are on the list, but the return as an 18-hour thing is just perfect for me. But it's not a film, even though David Lynch says so and Sight and Sound say so. But to be honest, deep down, I agree with you. So instead, my choice, because I've got to have a David Lynch film because he's my spirit animal. He's the best. So I guess it's just got to be Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
Oh, what?
I love the way
it's great.
You just tease things up as the best, as if like, I mean, we're all in agreement.
We're all in agreement
and he looked
here.
At me, and in my mind, I was thinking, he better say Blue Velvet.
No.
He went off in a different
That's
direction.
not even top 5 Lynch for me.
Whoa.
Blue Velvet.
Ooh. Hold on.
I love Blue Velvet. I love Blue Velvet.
I mean, maybe it's the Lynch film for people who don't get Lynch. It's got like a plot line and everything.
Well, no, that would be Elephant Man, I suppose. But
that's the most consumable.
Yeah, definitely.
Elephant Man consumable.
Well, it's definitely the most filmy, isn't it?
Yeah,
you wouldn't necessarily know it was David Lynch if you didn't know.
Well, what about that one? What's the one with the man on the
lawnmower?
Yeah.
The Straight Story.
Yeah, I think that's the most
that's true.
That's his most pedestrian sort of.
Yeah, I guess
venture.
it is a you. But then there's some odd stuff in it.
He's got his fingerprints on the film for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But I guess I just go for Twin Peaks just because the aesthetic and everything of Twin Peaks is just something I find. It's just Twin Peaks is like a warm blanket. I find it all, the trees and I really like a good procedural kind of police investigation thing. And then Fire Walk with Me in particular, it's brilliant because you've just got this like 45-minute police procedural with Kiefer Sutherland going around in the long coats and everything. And then it just turns into this, harrowing.
Yeah. And you sure you want to piece through that?
That's true. It is like one blanket. What else am I going to take?
Now is my warm blanket. I think that's fine. No. That's your second.
No, I suppose. Yeah. Well, I guess when you think about it, on a desert island, maybe I would prefer to watch an old man on a lawnmower. But it's Twin Peaks, man.
Trust in yourself. That's your choice.
You can't. Yeah.
That's what you want. You can't go back now.
Yeah.
You're halfway to the island.
That's your favourite Lynch film?
I'd say so.
Is it?
Yeah. And maybe followed by Lost Highway. And then Inland Empire? Maybe, yeah. And then Mulholland Drive. And then
I was going to say, interestingly, none of us have said Mulholland Drive yet. I'm just going to, this is my controversial opinion. I don't know if we need some kind of klaxon go off. I didn't get Mulholland Drive. I watched it. I didn't get it. It's supposed to be the greatest film of all time. I was just like, really?
You're not supposed to get it, Nadine. You're just supposed to let the film wash over you. It's like a beautiful dream. And look at Naomi Watts. Isn't she pretty?
Oh, I'm not saying she's not pretty.
David Lynch just.
I'm not saying she's not pretty, but if it's a choice between, Naomi Watts and Isabella Rossellini, I mean, these are the big cinematic questions that we're delving into, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which lady is hottest in the Lynch film?
Well, if you're on a desert island, then I suppose that is going to inform your decision.
I think we should veer away.
I don't know if it would inform my decision, to be honest.
And that's why I'm bringing American Werewolf in London.
I think it's just interesting to see what directions we're all going in, regardless of whose picks are the best. Mine, obviously. But I think it's just interesting to see how we've all approached it. And I've gone, I don't want to worry people, but I've gone for another slightly weird, unpleasant film. I don't know what that says about me. But again, I'm thinking I want something I can rewatch again and again and get something out of. And I'm thinking The Shining. It's not. I'm not even sure it's my favourite horror. I do think it's definitely, arguably, and I say arguably, the greatest horror film of all time.
Is it a horror film?
Yes.
Is a different question.
100%.
100%,
I'd say, yeah.
Sorry, that's supposed to be more of a debate, wasn't
Okay,
it?
yeah.
Well, in my opinion, a psychological horror, I'd say.
Still a horror.
Well, it's got ghosts in it as well.
Oh, yeah. He's not
Or
very
are
scary
they?
ghosts.
Or are they ghosts? Or are they in his head? Or this is the thing about The Shining. There is a million theories about what the heck is going on in that hotel. And if you're on a desert island, you've got time on your hands, you could probably come up with another 10 or 20. Or just contemplate is it his confession that he filmed the moon landing?
Yeah.
I do love that thing.
Yeah, it's a great
I think it's a
one.
brilliant thing.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I've got time to really figure it out while I'm on this desert island. So, but I say arguably because one of my favourite horror films of all time, and I do think, again, this is a candidate for greatest horror film of all time, is The Thing.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I
absolutely.
love it.
The remake,
it's
right?
Paul and his controversial opinions. No, the original. John Carpenter's The Thing. And actually, it might be a nice film to watch on a desert island. It's all snowy and cold, and it might just be nice. But I don't know if it's got quite as many layers as The Shining. So as much as I love it, as much as I could watch that again and again, I just feel there's just so much to The Shining. Or perhaps there isn't. Perhaps we're just projecting all this, layers onto it. But I just feel like I could really dig deep into it and start figuring some stuff out. Is it in his head? Is it this? Is it that? Yeah, I've got all the time in the world to figure out what was really going on in Room 237.
I was about to say,
presume
have you seen Room 237?
Yes, I've seen the documentary as well. So yeah, I think that's part of, if any, I mean, I've always loved it. Every time it was on TV, I'd watch it, and I've got it now on physical media, so I can take it. When I say I've got it now, I've got the case. I've lost the Blu-ray. I don't know. I think I took it to my mum's for Halloween.
I said that doesn't really count if you no longer have the disc.
I will purchase it again. I will refashion it. Look, I've got it. It's in the house somewhere. But anyway, yeah, I could watch that a lot of times. I have watched it a lot of times, and I think each time you watch it, you're probably getting something different out of it. So I think that would be my second choice.
Excellent choice.
Great choice. I was quite surprised you went with that because I was also going to go for a John Carpenter film. Although not horror, so it can only be one film.
So on Precinct 13?
No, that is Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh.
You know what? I never seen it.
Oh, gosh.
I've seen it, by the way, but I haven't seen it in a long time, and I used to love it when I was younger.
Yeah.
I have no idea if I was still... Every few years, you've got to rewatch something just to sort of...
See where you stand on it.
Yeah, am I still behind it? And I just don't know anymore. So I'd love to hear why it's your choice.
Well, admittedly, I decided it 10 minutes ago when I was scrolling through some of my Letterboxd lists, but it's just silly, and it's brilliantly silly. And Kurt Russell is brilliantly silly in it. And it's short, so I'm not cranking that camera for too long. And yeah, it's just... colourful, vibrant. It's not really funny actually, but
Is it not?
No, it'd be my comedy pick.
It sounds
it's like zany, bordering
Goofy.
irksome, but it's good fun. It's very surprising when you consider the rest of his films. And I think it's on Disney Plus at the moment, but I do have it on Blu-ray, so we'll crack out the Blu-ray for that. Although I'm not sure how we're going to convert that format to hand cranking.
We've got a way.
We've got a way.
We've got a system.
Yeah, I don't think I have more reasoning than that it's properly goofy. I'm already completely insane from watching Aguirre at this point.
Yeah.
So I'll just keep that train going, and then I'll finish on something a bit more normal, I think. But yeah.
Who can argue with Kurt Russell, John Carpenter, and Kim Cattrall, Sam from Sex and the City?
Oh, really?
Samantha. So I think that's as good a choice as any, and I did enjoy it as a kid. And I think something with that nostalgia, maybe it takes you back to your childhood, the 80s or the 90s or whenever you grew up. So there might be something in that just kind of lifts you a bit. And if there's one thing you can say about it, it's a fun film. So, you might need that on the desert island.
I think
watching Aguirre.
Yeah, you need a little bit of levity, and it can give you that. It's a fun ride, and it's silly, and I wouldn't want anything more than a dose of silliness for an hour and a half on an island. So there you go.
No, I'm gonna go for it. Third choice. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, that's not bad.
Because I think that is just a lovely film. So that's going to cheer you up on a desert island. It looks gorgeous. It's funny. It's also deep because, it's the Odyssey, man. It's Homer. Yeah. That's proper literature and stuff. And it's George Clooney, wonderful music. And it's
fantastic. Fantastic music.
Fun fact, first film to be digitally colour-coded.
Yes, indeed. Everything's very yellow in it. Got that.
It wasn't in real life.
It wasn't.
It was green.
It was green.
They made it yellow on the computer.
But no, I just think it is so hard to choose your favourite Coen Brothers film, but it probably is my favourite because I think it's just the one that makes you feel the most warm and fuzzy. It's the least cynical, and also it's one that I used to watch with my parents quite a lot. So it's just one of those that the whole family loves, and just makes you feel nice, doesn't it? And you can sit there on your desert island going, I'm hanging out with George Clooney and his silly friends.
Well, great pick. Did that won a Grammy, didn't it, for best, I think it might have been like best album flat out.
Oh, right,
of that year.
That makes sense.
Which is massive for a film soundtrack, but very impressive choice. I like that as a choice.
Oh, thanks. Man.
Just out of interest, what other Coen Brothers films would you push towards that end of the equation?
They're a tough one. They're so consistently excellent, or at least they certainly were. I guess they've kind of split up now, it seems. But they haven't really put that many steps wrong, other than Lady Killers isn't great, but it is an entertaining film, isn't it?
I haven't seen it, so
Blood Simple?
Blood Simple, yes.
I love Blood Simple. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, classic. And obviously, Country for Old Men, all that kind of stuff. Oh, Barton Fink is a big one for me. I really love that.
Miller's Crossing?
Not one that I've revisited as often as the others, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think my favourite is actually the bit that Sam Raimi directed.
What, Crime Wave?
No, there's a I don't know if it's Barton Fink. I don't know if you'd know, but there's a film where Sam Raimi directed a segment of it. It's a Coen Brothers film, and there's a lot of, all I can remember now is it's hula hoops. Okay, which one's that?
The Hudsucker Proxy.
Yes, there's a whole sequence in that directed by Sam Raimi.
Oh, really?
And I haven't watched the Hudsucker Proxy, but I've watched that, and it was brilliant.
Oh, no way.
So that's my controversial. I am a Raimiac, sorry. I love Sam. He's just adorable.
Thank you.
And I just can't say enough nice things about him. Did he torture Bruce in the woods, in the cabin when they were teenagers? Yes, he did.
He liked it, though.
Yeah, exactly. He was up for it. Did he torture, Tobey Maguire on Spider-Man? Probably a bit too as well, but they signed up for it. It was all consensual. I'm just kind of a bit obsessed with Sam Raimi, so sorry, but I just had to squeeze that in there. It's my final choice now. And on the one hand, I'm very happy with it, but I've also realised that actually my choices have been very, for want of a better word, film bro-y. There's nothing before 1970, there's no foreign language film, there's nothing in black and white. And I'm going to continue with that trend and just go with something very widely loved, I'd say. But again, it's my desert island. And again, it's rewatchability. And this is a film that I've watched possibly more than any other, certainly up there. Maybe not the most. But I'm going to have to say Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I've just realised I have to pick one of the three. Can I take the back? It's one film. No. This is where it gets controversial, actually. Let's get controversial. I'm going to say the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not offended by that choice at all.
Okay, not controversial then.
Yeah.
I think it's critically, it seems to be well regarded that the first one is the best. But personally, I've got a lot of love for the second one. I love both of them, and I didn't want the first two films were quite dark. I need a bit of dessert.
Yeah.
And there's just something, gosh darn it. Marty McFly is just so wholesome, isn't he? So wholesome and lovable, but he's also really cool. Like, he's the coolest, squarest kid. I just want to be Marty McFly, frankly. I want to be able to, ride around on a skateboard and travel back in time with an odd gentleman who's not suspicious in any way, even though he's hanging out with a teenager, all the time. But it's just so wholesome. Even when his mother's trying to get into his pants, it's so wholesomely done. And you question it later and you think, that was odd, wasn't it? And I don't think it gets enough credit for the absolutely exquisite cinematography. I think the cinematography in it is absolutely beautiful. And actually, if you're talking the second one, which we are, because I've decided on it, this is pre-CGI kind of era where those shots of the actors playing multiple characters, they're so well done, and they had to be so precise in how they locked off the camera and they filmed those shots. There might be some computer-generated imagery now that I'm going to backtrack. I don't think the Jaws 3D was made for real, or was it? Answers on a postcard, please. And actually, I watched it in the year, of 2015 when they travelled forward to. And I remember, maybe watching it just a couple of years before and thinking, this is they got it so wrong. They were so out there with this technology and all of this. And actually, drones suddenly were really coming into fashion. I thought, oh my God, that camera that was flying around in the front of the course house, it was a drone. And then I saw a video of someone, not on a hoverboard like they have in the movies, but they were on hoverboards like over the water. And they were hovering around on water and stuff. And there was quite a few, and I think they brought out the night trainers, limited edition sort of self-tying trainers. It was madly impressive. There's so much detail in that as well, because I hadn't seen that one on the big screen that I can remember. And I remember I did watch it that year on the big screen, and I noticed for the first time Doc Brown wears a shirt with trains on it and cowboys and horses, and basically foreshadows the third film. So I just thought, oh my God, and there's so many things like that. There's posters in the background for like Vietnam surfing holidays and stuff. Robert Zemeckis crams in so much detail into his films that you can watch them again and again. And then, once your eyes start wandering from the main action, you just pick up all this stuff. And it's like I've never figured that out before. I never noticed that before. So I think it's just so layered and detailed, and it's just a feel-good movie, and it's so creative and it's fun. There's so much going on. There's like a film noir bit where he goes to the graveyard and it rains and all this kind of, and they play around with all this stuff. What I really love about it, and I know this is controversial, is that they revisit the first film. And it's controversial because the actor, and I'm completely blanking on his name right now.
Crispin Glover.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Paul, saving me there. Crispin Glover did not agree to be in the second film, and he is. And it was a big deal, and there was a court case over it, and it changed the law because they used outtakes, I believe, from the first one, and they used an actor, and they dressed him up and they hung him upside down. So that the actor in the future playing his dad is not Crispin Glover, and that's possibly why he's hanging upside down. So you don't notice. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that until not very long ago. So it's a bit of film history there. How many films have changed the law? I think, Crispin Glover had a good reason. If you don't want to be in a film, you shouldn't be forced to be in a film against your will. But I do love how and it's become a trope now of that revisiting, an earlier time. They did it in The Mummy too, and they've done it in other films, I'm sure. But I just think that's such a kind of genius, like, oh, wow, we're going back to the first one, but we're seeing it from a completely different angle. And it's just so fun. And after watching Apocalypse Now, The Shining, I'm going to need a bit of that.
Yeah, good choice. Very filmy sort of choice. Does that make sense?
It is a film.
It's a film.
It's a filmy film.
Yeah. I've had the whimsy, I've had the existentially terrorising film.
We need the most neutral film ever.
Yeah, so the film I'm going to go with is one of my favourites, and I'm going to choose it. It's Goodbye Dragon In by Simon Lang. It's a great film. It's a fantastic film, but ultimately it's very quiet. There's not a lot that happens. The camera doesn't move much. You've got to be engaged with it. You've got to think with it, but it's about cinema.
Oh. It's not about the Weatherspoons in High Street?
No.
Okay.
It's not. But it would be brilliant if it was, because that would have been my first pick, but no. I think it's about cinema, and it's about the community of cinema, and it's also about the lonely visitor to the cinema. Yeah, I think you should just celebrate cinema space wherever you can, and I'd get my monkey and my squirrel, apparently, sit next to me, and we'd watch that, and I'd be like, "You see that there? We made that. We did cinema. It was blooming good." So yeah. So I think that would be my pick. I find it quite very entertaining. I mean, there's not a lot that happens, so you can just fall asleep and wake up, and you're still on the same shot. And it's I'd go for it without subtitles as well, so I could learn the language.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
why not?
because nobody's thought of that yet. But I think there's 4 spoken lines in the film, so
Your conversation will be limited.
Really?
yeah, it would be limited. But it also finishes with a fantastic old Chinese track. There's a lady singing in it. I don't know what the English translation is. It's something about how much the past still lingers in her heart, and it's a wonderful tune. It's quite an austere film. There's not a lot going on, but it has such a warm moment at the end, and I think I'd just go skipping across the island afterwards, thinking about cinema, and I'd feel like I was there in cinema, full of people, or full of monkeys, squirrels, turtles. You can get turtles on islands.
Yeah.
So I think it's a boring pick, really. I'd love to say something funny like the Meg 2, but I'm not going to. Should we do a quick run through in case the listeners have forgotten the 3 we had?
So you're the Fifth Element.
Yeah, apparently the Fifth Element, and then Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
And then Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Mine was Apocalypse Now, of course, The Shining, and Back to the Future, because I'm so edgy and different and so film literate. So I picked 3 of the most watched, most loved films of all time.
My first one was Aguirre, Wrath of God, then Big Trouble in Little China, and then Goodbye Dragon In to finish on. Did we want to run through some of your? If we just quickly fire them off,
I better quickly.
I'll tell you what, we'll do a ooh. We'll do an ooh if it's good, or a
Because I can't. I love The Fifth Element, but I can't quite believe that wound up being one of my 3 choices. Well, this was just kind of what made the 8. So it was Twin Peaks, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Evil Dead 2, Being John Malkovich.
Oh,
But I think that's mainly because I can't find my copy of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Well, I'm
so
taking
that
The Shining, so I think
well, that's
you're
true.
allowed.
You're taking your empty box of The Shining.
I'm going to manifest The Shining. The spirits will bring it to me.
Zodiac. Whoa, silence for Zodiac.
it's an odd island choice.
It is an
island.
island, yeah. But that's because I need a crime procedural. That's kind of like my favourite thing.
Okay.
Is just
We're learning so much about each other.
Yeah.
I'm obviously a sociopath. You like Robert Zemeckis and Sam Raimi, and you love police procedures.
Yeah, I just love detectives going around detecting things, even if they don't wind up detecting the thing that they need to detect.
Yeah.
Like the Zodiac Killer.
Maybe the thing they needed to detect was the friends they made.
But no, it's top tier Fincher. I'm sorry.
And was there anything else on the list?
Right, got to mention it. Muppets Christmas Carol.
Wow.
But the thing is, you can only watch it once a year.
Can you? Have you
Yeah, you've
time
There's
on
no
the
concept
island?
Yeah,
of
you've got
Christmas.
no
It's
concept of
Christmas.
You
It could be
watch
Christmas every
day.
You're on a desert island. Watch what you want.
Oh, it's a perfect film.
Yeah.
And very little comes close to it, to be honest with you.
Oh, I completely disagree. But how sweet.
Oh.
Yeah. Should we wrap it up there?
I suppose.
Yeah.
So stay healthy, everybody. Keep going to the cinema. And I'm not sure this is ever going to make airwaves because it's a pilot episode. But yeah,
this is meaningless.
So
it's good practice.
wow, it's good practice, and we had some lovely laughs. Yeah.
Maybe the real thing we needed to learn was the friends we made along the way.
And I think on that note, we'll sign off.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
You have been listening to the Brum Picture Show, a Screen B14 production for Brum Radio. Presented by Sam Parks with Nadine O'Mahony and Paul Burnham, who also edited the audio and did the theme tune. Musical stings by bona fide professional composer Rupert Cole. And Dave Massey pressed record and made sure we didn't break anything. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to this Brum Radio podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on your podcast app.